Love and Hip Hop Atlanta gave me everything I needed, plus more. This week's episode, it started off with just ratchetness from the beginning. So let's take us back to Chris's party, birthday party, Mimi's boo. So we see that Tommy and Tiara are there, Scrap's girlfriend and Scrap's baby mama. So Tommy decides, I'm not being all nice no more. So Tommy starts like throwing like these little digs at her, and then shade, and then obvious shade at the point where it's not even like shade. There's no hiding it. It's just straight out insults. Are you even being a mother? When do you have time to be a mother? So you can't talk to people about their child or their mothering skills, or else that's basically like when the gloves come off. So at that point, one of them stands up to say something to the other person, but as we all know, when you stand up, that's code for I'm ready whenever to fight. So next thing you know, what's her name? Tiara throws a drink in Tommy's face, and Tommy charges. And I mean, the way that the cast explained it, there were literally like body parts flying everywhere. Like they were not covered whatsoever. Okay, so we're gonna table their situation because we will come back to that. You can tell that Scrap and Tiara, they have like a legit relationship. Whether they've called it a relationship or not, her feelings were very much so involved in this, to the point where she wouldn't even let him talk after a while, because she said, who is Tiara? She said, who is Tommy? Has Tommy been around my son? Why don't I know about her? Are you with this girl? Do you have dealings with her? Does she know about me? Does she know that we've been together? All of this stuff. And she's saying basically this is why we can't get back to where we used to be, because you're doing all these little games and stuff. I need you to get us together and let the girl know face to face with all of us in the same room. You are with me. You are not with her. You are not going to speak to her. You're not going to have my son around her. And until you fix this situation, you cannot see your son. I do think they should all come together and talk if it can be a calm situation, but we all know that is not what it's going to be. Okay, now let's move on to Mimi, Arian, and Chris. Arian says, oh, basically, are you relieved that everybody knows you're a lesbian now? And she said, I'm not a lesbian. And I said, what? Like, because, Chris is a woman, right? At the party, you introduced Chris as your girlfriend, and you being a female, two females, that makes a lesbian relationship. So how are you not lesbian? And she said, well, I'm not lesbian because Chris identifies as a man. Okay. If Chris identifies as a man, and Chris has specifically said Mimi turned lesbian for me. So in that regard, I really need them to figure it out, because I'm really confused. Whatever the case, let's move on from them, because my head hurts because of that conversation. Tommy is meeting with KK, and KK is like, this is a problem. I didn't mean for it to turn into a fight between y'all, but hey, Tiara got what was coming for her, because apparently Tiara, she didn't just kill the girl's dog. Tiara snitched on KK to try to get KK to go to jail while KK's sons were in jail. So I understand and that's why KK ended up on the run. She was confiding in Tiara, and Tiara was going back and telling the police everything. So I understand why there's that beef between them and they don't get along. I completely understand now. Okay, with that being said, Tommy, she is mad, fed up, pissed off at Scrap. She is at home. Scrap shows up at her door with pink flowers and something in a box. He gives them to her. She opens up the door with an attitude. She throws them on the ground. He said, hey, I spent money on that. She said, hey, you broke my heart. Okay. So she goes into the kitchen. He's talking to her. He's cool. He's calm and collected. It's kind of like playing mind games with her right now, because in her mind, he should be groveling and apologizing. Okay. So Tommy, she really tripped me out on this part. She is going off on him, and I don't want nothing to do with you, and I'm not dealing with you if you're going to be dealing with her, and you can get out my face, and blah, 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 this hard exterior. And then all of a sudden he's like, okay, well, when you feel like talking, just call me. I'm going to go. And she's like, well, I'm going to walk you to the door because I'm just so hurt and upset. And I'm like, what? Like, no lie, I legit had to rewind the TV. Like, what in the world? Did she just switch up? Was that poor editing or something? How did she go from this hard exterior to like all of a sudden crying and saying, well, I'm gonna walk you to the door and now I'm so sad, and I'm like, what in the world? And I was watching it with my husband. He said, I'm telling y'all are crazy like that. I feel like all women are like that. And I'm like, now at least I would have like a smooth transition from angry to, hurt. It flipped just like that. It was the weirdest thing ever. And then Scrap even says, see, this is why I love her, because she's crazy. She's crazy and all, I still love her. You know what? Y'all don't have to make up your mind, because I really feel like for this past year, Scrap has been in a legit relationship with the two of them separately, and they just have not met. Now they've met, and he's like, dang, I'm going to have to make a decision, and I wasn't ready to make a decision. Okay, well, Tammy wants D. Smith to model her clothes. Okay, so D. Smith meets with Tammy and says, oh, I'm transitioning. Tammy says, transitioning what? What are you talking about? And she said, I'm transitioning from male to female. She said, oh, I didn't know. Okay. Now, keep in mind, D. Smith is friends with somebody named Bevy or Betty or something. Okay, so all of a sudden we see that they have met up. D. Smith asked Tammy about her views on Waka Flocka's interview on The Breakfast Club and his views towards the LGBT community. So Tammy spoke for herself, and basically she said, I respect everybody. I respect you if you're living your truth, and that is your truth. And who am I to judge you, or is he to judge you, or anybody, whatever. I would still like to do business with you. Okay, now let's move to when D. Smith invites Tammy and the Betty girl out to lunch. Now, Tammy, she's starting off very nice. She's even telling the other girl, hey, you can come to the fashion show as well. Well, the other girl says, basically, let's cut to the chase. Do you agree with your husband's views on the LGBT community? Because I don't agree with it. And basically, then she starts insulting Tammy, saying, your only claim to fame is you married a rapper, whoop-de-doo, and a dumb one at that, and I don't like his views, and blah, 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 blah. And Tammy is getting furious because this girl is hitting below the belt, hitting below the belt, hitting below the belt, hitting below the belt. Then she's saying, I wasn't modeling your fashion show anyway. And Tammy was like, well, it's cool because I don't want you to. You got on cheap clothes anyway. They're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Quite naturally, just like Tammy said, I'm not going to keep defending my husband. He said what he said. Like Nene Leakes said, I said what I said. Now, she says that he is like closed-minded, a bigot, all of this stuff. Now, my only issue with that, and this is a reoccurring theme on TV, I think that the number one thing, this is just my opinion, should just be respect, okay? I don't have to believe what you believe. You don't have to believe what I believe. Just like I'm not going to force my beliefs on you, you should not force your beliefs on me. With that being said, neither one of us can put each other in heaven or hell. With that being said, I'm just proving a point that nobody can judge anybody. However, if these are my beliefs and this is what I choose to believe, and you asked me, what are my beliefs on this? Did you expect me to lie to you and tell you I believe exactly what you believe? No, I may believe something different. But with that said, you asked for my opinion. So I think that you should respect that. This is a moment where we can have a logical, intellectual conversation. And even at the end of the conversation, we can agree to disagree. Or I can just turn away. Because I'm really asking for trouble if I just keep edging you on and on and on and on. Your true feelings are going to come out about it because I asked you about it. That is all I'm saying. If you're asking her, so be prepared for what her answer might be. Not that you disagree with her and now all of a sudden you're a horrible bigot as well. That is your opinion, but realize that is her husband and she's not going to allow you to just talk down on him or talk about him. And that is why ultimately you got hit in your face, Miss Betty, whatever your name is, you got hit in your face. And I'm sorry, I'm not for violence, but I was here for it because you came to start drama. That would have been hard for anybody in that situation to not snap. In that situation, I personally would have had to get up to walk away. But those are just my thoughts on that. I had to get that off my chest. That was really important to me. It's driving me crazy in TV land. Oh my gosh. But anyways, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and check me out at mrsblogaholic.com. Bye.